Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live with me, Chase Lee, my co-host,
Brian Sutfield.
That's fucking right. And hey, listen, guys, if you're new to the show, welcome. What we do in the show is we take a look at some of the movies coming out on said Friday, and we will honor said movie by making a top 5 list according to that, and have that. There's your fucking episode. So, yeah, the cool thing about this list is that it's live, so we have no idea what the hell's going to come out of our mouths, and we don't know each other's list. And it could be anything. It could be over an actor, actress, production company, genre, what have you. It just depends on what the movie is. So before we be getting into our topic, Brian, how are we doing this week?
It's nice to be back home for the weekend, see all my buds, go to my favorite restaurants in my hometown. So it was really nice to be back home. After a rough week at college, I had so many exams and it was so annoying, and it's like, fuck, what the hell? Why is time flying? But other than that, it's pretty good. How are you, sir?
Well, I will advise you to stop complaining about college, because this is it, Brian. Enjoy it now, because when you get out, it is going to suck so much ass crack. So
thank you, Dad.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, I'm doing just fine. Just another week has gone by, and I'm just chilling in this weekend because there was no fucking movies to watch. I'm just chilling with my roommate's dog, and that's what I'm doing this weekend. This show, and that's it. So yeah, I'm excited to do this week's show. Brian, would you like to introduce the peeps out there what we are doing?
Of course, absolutely. This week, in honor of the critically acclaimed Moonlight, we are honoring the film studio A24, which is a list that I would say Chase has wanted to do more than me, because I'll say this right now, I've only seen about 3 or 4 A24 films in the theater. Not a lot. No, I've seen many of them, but in the theater, because they don't come to New Jersey a lot. It's very rare for some of them to come to New Jersey. A24 is more like a New York, LA, and seems to be Dallas thing, because I remember that every time you tell me about a screening for someone, it's always for an A24 film. Like, you always get to go to screens for A24 films, and I'm like, well, fuck, why don't they have that in Jersey? And it's like really annoying. But I love A24. They produced like a lot of the best of the year stuff, and this company's only been going on for 3 years, so it's still going strong. They keep producing great content. They have little amounts of bad, not too many though. There's only like a small amount of bad movies they made, or blah films they made. But I am so excited to honor this company, because it's one of the best companies we have working today in the film industry.
Yeah, and Brian's gonna be pissed even more because my Moonlight screening is next week. So yeah. You know what's really funny is that my first ever press screening as a press member was an A24 movie. It was Spring Breakers. Garbage. But, ever since I saw that movie, I knew the A24 was going to be something special, because right after Spring Breakers, you had like the Spectacular Now, and they kept hitting us with movies like in 2013, and then just every single year they kept growing and growing, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, they're acquiring all these movies and just distributing them. It's crazy. So, yeah, this is by far one of the hardest lists I've ever had to whittle down. I think I'm comfortable with my list. Yeah, I'm just going to go with it. But, yeah, it was really hard. I had to whittle it down from like 15 to 12 and then down to 5, and it was like, fuck. It was ridiculous. But A24, I agree, is one of the best studios around. Brian is right. I do get excited because if there is an A24 released movie on the schedule, I know for a fact they will have a press screening in Dallas. So, yeah, I always look forward to their movies. I always look forward to their logo when it pops up. It gets me excited and whatnot. So I'm excited to honor one of the best independent film companies out there right now. That's all they do is just pump out gold for the most part. We'll get to the dishonorable mentions shortly. But, yeah, that's what we're honoring today. So let's stop wasting any time. Let's do the top 5 A24 films, top 5 Saturdays Live. Here we go, guys. So, Brian, I have to ask you, because Brian always starts it, what is your number 5 favorite A24 released film of all time so far?
This was the very first A24 film I ever saw in the theater, and it was quite special because it still is easily one of the most confusing films I ever saw. My number 5 is Under the Skin.
Okay.
Great film, beautifully directed. Scarlett Johansson is incredible in this film. Probably my favorite performance she's ever given, other than Lost in Translation. Obviously, she's great as Black Widow, but this to me is definitely the best performance I think she's ever given in her whole career, especially of the last like 5 years. Like this film is incredible, and I loved it the first time I saw it. I forced my dad to drive like 40 minutes just to go see it. He was just like, I like weird movies, but I didn't care for this one. I'm like, I kind of loved it, Dad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I wasted your time by driving. He's like, it's fine. I've dragged you to movies that you weren't interested in, but so I guess this is like payback. And I'm like, I guess so. This was a great film. The story is amazing. I'm not going to spoil what it's about just in case if anyone hasn't seen it. And also a good thing is about A24, if you guys have Amazon Prime, literally every film they've made so far is on Amazon Prime. So if you have Amazon Prime, all the A24 films are there. Some of them are on Netflix, but Amazon Prime is the best place to find them. I just want to say that. One of the best scores, beautifully shot, amazing film. It's weird as fuck. It's going to take you at least 3 tries to watch to appreciate it. I appreciated it on my first viewing, but I appreciate it way more now. I want to buy it on Blu-ray, but it's hard to obtain. But Under the Skin, fantastic film. One of my favorites of 2014 is my number 5.
That's a great pick. I am going to pass.
Ooh, yay.
Yeah, I'm going to pass on that one. Yeah, so my number 5, I'm going to go with one that came out last year. Now, I had to really think about this. I was like, what is my number 5 slot going to be? Because the way I approached this list was which ones stuck out to me the most and which ones have stuck with me ever since I watched them. A lot of people don't bring this one up, but I honestly thought it was going to nab at least one nomination last year, and it didn't get shit. And that movie would be The End of the Tour with Jesse Eisenberg and Jason Segel. If you guys don't know what this one's about, this is a real-life story of Jesse Eisenberg, who plays the reporter. I forgot his name. I'm sorry. But Jason Segel plays David Foster Wallace, an eccentric author, if you will. And Jesse Eisenberg's character basically goes to interview him, and they form this bond. And David Foster Wallace kind of just tells him about life and just kind of spins it in a different way that Jesse Eisenberg's character really never thought of, while we're still getting into the character developments of both of them. This film was something special. I remember I walked out of it just saying, hot damn, Jason Segel. Like, I've always been a fan of this guy ever since How I Met Your Mother, and like when he wrote and starred in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, which is one of my favorite modern comedies. The guy's just been on fire, and he did the Muppets as well. This was such a different role for him. He was very subdued and very philosophical and very soft-spoken when he was out having an outburst or whatever. It definitely showed. He went 0 to 100 real quick. So I love the range that he had with his character. I've never seen David Foster Wallace in interviews, but I hear he's a pretty weird dude. It seems like he nailed this character very, very well, and it seemed like he really kind of did his research to really prepare for this role. And make no mistake. A lot of people slouch on Jesse Eisenberg and his performance. His is just as good, and I thought their chemistry was off the charts. And I never would have thought in a million years Jesse Eisenberg would have like good chemistry with Jason Segel, a part of the Judd Apatow Rat Pack. Like, it never even crossed my mind. But it's a very quiet film. There's nothing really extravagant about the cinematography or whatnot. It's the story and the performances and even the music that kind of sways you into this journey of bonding between these two. And, Jesse Eisenberg goes there as a reporter. He's very stone-faced. He wants to ask his questions. And at the end of the film, he feels like he made a friend in the process. So it's a very quiet film. It's definitely one of the quietest films they've ever done, but is very powerful in the performances and the overall bonding of those two characters, and that's why The End of the Tour is my number 5. Brian, have you seen this film? And I know it's not on your list, so what did you think of it?
I'm gonna have to pass on this one.
What the oh shit, son! Look at that. I'm impressed. Me and the Brian man have a similar taste, so I cannot fault him for that. So all right, that is it for our number 5s. Moving on to number 4. Brian, take it away.
My number 4 is Enemy.
Ding, ding, ding. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time in a while where we've had something in common on the same slot. So we both have Enemy as our number 4. I will let Brian take this one first because this one, just like with Under the Skin, is weird as hell, and it takes a while to kind of explain it a little bit. So Brian, ramp it up, start off, and then I'll end it.
This is definitely the most confusing film I've ever seen in my life. I can tell you right now that I have never been more confused with any movie I've ever seen in my life. And every time we bring up anything anything related to Enemy, I always bring this movie up because I adore the crap out of this movie so much. Denis Villeneuve, masterclass filmmaker. Obviously, we've talked about it numerous times. Prisoners, amazing. Enemy, obviously, great. Sicario, great. Arrival looks fantastic, and I'm so pumped for Blade Runner 2049. Like, I cannot wait for that. I'm so excited for that film. This one, I mean, it's such a well-crafted story. I mean, it's kind of a simple story when you think about it, but it's told in such a confusing way that you're just like, oh, it seems like a simple story. I mean, it's just these two people, that it's this guy and his doppelganger meeting together. But there's more layers to it, and it's quite a ride. I mean, if you hate spiders, be warned, spiders, yeah. Jake Gyllenhaal is incredible in this movie. This is one of the best performances he's ever given in his whole career. I mean, he plays both of these roles extremely well. The direction by Villeneuve is so well crafted. I love the way it's written. I love the slow burn of it, even though it's like an 85-minute long film. It's so good that, like, if you're someone who loves psychological mindfucks, this is a great example of one. And if you're a hardcore film lover, this is a movie that you should watch. We were talking about this film in one of my filmmaking classes not too long ago. The short film that I just made, Alive, was loosely inspired by Enemy, like some aspects of it. I'm not going to spoil anything. I don't want to describe what my short film's about, but if you want to see it, check it out. It's called Alive. Check it out on my YouTube channel. Enemy. And I just adore this film so much. It's another one of my favorites from 2014. I love this one obviously more than Under the Skin. And the weird thing is, this is more confusing than Under the Skin, and the thing is, I usually am not fond of movies that are so confusing. Some of them, at least. Some of them I'm not really in love with. This one, I adore the shit out of. I think it's a perfect 5 out of 5. At first, it was like a 4.5 out of 5, but then over time, it became a 5 out of 5. One of my favorite films of the decade so far. I adore Enemy. Spill the beans. Talk about this movie.
Let's put it to you this way. I think Alfred Hitchcock would be proud. Yes. I think Denis Villeneuve has created one of the most, probably the most accurate Hitchcockian modern film that we've had so far. And that's saying a lot. Like Brian said, with its 85 or 90-minute runtime, it is one of the shortest movies Denis Villeneuve has done, but no minute is wasted. Every single minute has something to do with the story. Nothing seems wasted. And when I watched this for the first time, it is very confusing. I walked out going, what in the holy fuck did I just watch? However, that prompted me to go online and kind of research these theories that people had and stuff. And when you realize what the spider means and whatnot in terms of the characters in the story and Jake Gyllenhaal, it's actually really genius. Because my favorite type of movies are the movies that don't give everything away to you and they actually make you think. Like, this is a 2-time watch on average movie. There's no way that you can watch this the first time and go, yeah, I understood everything. Hey, maybe you're smarter than me. That's fine. Hey, you want to fight outside or something? No. No, seriously. If you watch it one time and you are completely engrossed in it and you can gather all the puzzle pieces and put that puzzle together, congrats on you. But after watching it one time, I wanted to rewatch it immediately because of that Hitchcockian slow burn feel that makes you think. Not only on top of that, Jake Gyllenhaal delivers a great performance on both ends. He plays 2 characters. The supporting characters are just as good, but it's all about Jake Gyllenhaal's story, and it's about his journey through what he's going through and whatnot. I don't want to spoil anything, but he plays 2 people, and it's Hitchcockian feel and spiders. I honestly don't want to say any more. It is a really great, suspenseful, slow burn thriller that will mindfuck the shit out of you and leave you on one of the most disturbing images that still gets under my skin, pun intended, because we just talked about it. But that fucking last shot, when I saw it in theaters, I almost had to like run out of the theater and go scrub myself in the bathroom.
I saw it in the theater. Like, I really wanted to see that in the theater.
It scared the shit out of me. It literally scared me. I was like, what the fuck? Because I'm not a fan of said thing and shot. So, yeah, number 4, Enemy for me. Great fucking pick. And I always give directors on 3 movies. If they can nail it in 3 movies masterfully, they're on my radar as one of the best working directors in Hollywood. Prisoners, I had no idea what to expect. Well, bam, hits you in the face with like this dark fucking thriller about child abduction. Enemy, number 2, very Hitchcockian, slow burn, quick. which is, an oxymoron. It's slow burn and it's quick. It's true, though. That was a sophomore effort. And then Sicario was his third junior effort. And he knocked it out of the park with the really great, tense, drug-filled type of espionage movie. The guy is one to watch for. I cannot wait for Arrival, and I cannot wait for Blade Runner 2. Enemy is by far the weirdest one and definitely the hardest one to sell on an average moviegoer. But if you can get past Prisoners and Sicario and all that stuff, you want to do something a little bit experimental, Enemy is your go. So that is our number 4, guys. That's great. I don't think we have had one in common in a long time. So yeah, this is getting exciting. So all right, going on to our top 3. We're getting close, guys. We're getting close. So Brian, what is your number 3?
My number 3 is The End of the Tour.
Okay, so it's a little higher on your list.
Yes, very high on my list. I saw this a month after it came out when released. It didn't. The first weekend it came to Jersey, ran out to see it. It was a great weekend for me, because the thing is, like, I saw kind of a Jesse Eisenberg double feature. Now, I know a lot of people didn't care for American Ultra. I thought it was entertaining for what it was. So it was cool seeing 2 Jesse Eisenberg movies in a row. And then the following day, I saw The Gift. So, like, that was, like, an awesome, like, double feature, triple feature kind of thing. Even though, like I said, American Ultra is just fine. But, I thought it was quite entertaining. But The End of the Tour, it's like what you said. I mean, the story is so awesome and engaging. I mean, you got, like, Eisenberg gets, oh, God, hold on. I know his name. I have to think. David Lipsky, Rolling Stone writer, a story on David Foster Wallace. Great movie. I mean, it's so sad, the movie. The movie is heartbreaking as shit. I mean, it has a lot of heart to it for sure, but it's also a really, really heartbreaking film. And the cool thing is about this movie, it's like the dialogue is so rich. I thought this film should have gotten a nomination for screenplay, but the biggest nomination that this film should have gotten, or for any award show, not just the Oscars, but any award show, is Jason Segel. I thought Jason Segel was fabulous in this movie. I thought he was terrific in this movie. Easily the best performance of his whole career. So subdued. I mean, when you look at him as Marshall, or from Forgetting Sarah Marshall, or The Muppets, or any of the comedies he's in, you're just like, wow, that was not Jason Segel. Wallace. And I remember I started working at, I had a job at a library, and I started working the day after I saw this movie. And the cool thing was, like, one of the first books I ever had to shelf was Infinite Jest. Like, that was one of the first books I ever had to shelf, and I thought that was a really awesome thing. Plus, it's just engaging. It's an engaging film. If you love movies with a lot of dialogue, this is a dialogue-heavy movie, and the dialogue is so good. And the direction by James Ponsel is nothing short of brilliant. It was easily one of the best directed films of last year. It was one of my favorite films of last year. It almost made the top 10. Like, it was right there. It was right there. Right there. It almost made the top 10. It was like in the top 15. It could have made the top 10, but then 5 other films shouldn't have came out, and then the movie would have been in the top 10. End of the Tour. I love it so much. I recommend it to everybody. I mean, if you love dramas, this is a great one. It tugs your heartstrings, and it's not an easy movie to watch. And when the trailer, like the Logan trailer came out today, then you're just like, wow, I can't see Hugh Jackman like in this kind of barbaric, like broken role. And in this, I never expected Jason Segel to play a broken guy like this. He is so broken. You just want to give him a hug. Like, you just want to comfort the guy. And I thought this movie was brilliant. I love it so much. It is my number 3.
And I concur. I don't need to say any more about it. Speaking of James Ponsel, my number 3, which is the very first A24 film that I thought was good that I saw, because Spring Breakers, no thank you, was The Spectacular Now. I saw that. That was my second A24 film I ever saw in theaters, and it was my second ever press screening I ever did. And my God, that movie solidified A24 for me, and that was just one fucking film. Okay, so Shailene Woodley, Miles Teller, high school romance. That's all you need to know going into this. And let me tell you, if you were ever in any type of relationship, or if you're in a relationship now and you're a little older, this will definitely speak volumes to you. I love films about teenage love, because teenage love is the type of love to where they, the two people in love, do not see anything wrong with it. They see themselves together forever, but they're young and they're innocent, and they don't really know the trials and tribulations of life, and they want to make it work, but they know that life is going to tear them apart at some point. And it's so sad, but it's also very heartfelt at the same time to see these two kind of grow together and grow apart. because we've all been through it, whether it be a relationship or a friendship with someone else or whatnot. We've all been through that before. But not only are those themes very prevalent and very strong in this film, the performances are really, 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 really good. Miles Teller, if you really think at this point, if you have not seen Whiplash or hell, he's got that boxing movie coming out. He's also, I liked him in War Dogs. If you haven't seen him in a movie where you thought his acting was good, watch this one. Yes, he plays a cocky asshole like he normally does. However, you see his character start to deteriorate into an actual kind of sympathetic person, and you really kind of you can connect with him on a more human level towards the end of the film. But yes, at first it takes a little while because he plays like that cocky asshole. But towards the end, you start to love him, and you start to love Shailene Woodley and how innocent she is, and then you start to love their relationship, and you get really kind of sad when they have their bumps in the road and whatnot. It's just a really heartfelt teenage romance that I really enjoyed quite a bit. The dialogue is very, very natural and very organic. I never felt like they were reading from a script, and that goes to the charisma and the charm that Miles Teller and Shailene Woodley have. They can completely pull that off and make it seem like I'm watching a real life relationship happening in front of me instead of a script. And for that very reason, like, it still sticks with me to this day. I own it on Blu-ray. I still love it. One of my favorite romance films in my collection. I love it to death. So that is my number 3 pick. Brian, are you going to pass on this?
I'm going to have to pass.
Holy shit. Okay, so guys, this is it. We're getting into our top 2. I just hit my mic. Sorry. All right, so we're getting into our top 2, and Brian just passed on the Spectacular now. I'm going to take a humongous fucking guess. Because there are a lot of A24 films out there. I think Brian has a Spectacular now at number 2, and I'm going to say he's got... we'll get to number 1 in just a second. So, Brian, am I right about your number 2?
My number 2... is Room.
Guess what, guys? We have another one in common. There you go. Okay, so that means I know what your number 1 is. And shit,
I know what your number 1 is.
You know what my number 1 is, so but that's okay. Yeah, so both of our number 2s is Room. That's fucking awesome. Holy shit. And since we already know each other's number 1s, I want you guys to know we picked the same number 5 5 movies. Did you guys even catch that? I'll show the list when we're done with it, but...
Oh my goodness. I don't think it's ever happened.
No, we have the same 5 movies. And
we've never had the same 5, ever.
Here's the deal. A24 has got at least 30 good movies, and the fact that Brian and I whittled it down to the same 5, and we got 2 in the same slot, we were fucking in tune for this one. But anyways, Room is both of our number 2s. I'll go first on this one since you took Enemy first.
Sure thing.
For Room... I didn't know what to expect. I walked in basically just excited because it was an A24 film. A lot of people have read the book and said the book was very good. And holy shit, I was blown away. I think Room was my number 3 best film of last year, and it completely deserves it. This was the first time I ever saw Brie Larson really kind of take hold of a movie. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, but what about Short Term 12? Short Term 12 is a very, very, very good movie. But this was the first time where I thought that she really took control of a movie by the horns or whatever and just ran with it. Her chemistry between her and Jacob Tremblay, the little kid that plays her son, was so outstanding and so natural. I felt like that was her son. And the performances from both of them are so heartbreaking, so heartfelt. When you look at the first half of the movie and the second half of the movie, they're completely different in the way they're directed, but the characters are kind of having their arc between both of the settings, and it's just really kind of depressing knowing that one setting is the better setting, yet they're actually more sad in that one than they are in the first kind of shitty setting. So I found that kind of interesting, kind of like psychologically damaging on the characters because they've been away from society for this whole time, and then they go to another location. They don't know what to do with themselves. They're kind of like feral people. So I thought it was a really just kind of sad look on two people, one person in particular that was in society and not in it anymore, and then one person that was born into another place besides society, and just how they view the world and whatnot. And it had such a childlike innocence to it, but also hitting kind of with like that reality, knowing that I mean, it's not, not all like rainbows and roses or whatever, because that's what the kid thinks, the whole time, is like, there's something better out there than, the bunker that they're in. And, the mom's like, no, it's really not. It's actually better in here. It's just kind of a really interesting yin yang kind of take on it. But performances are outstanding, very heartbreaking. The music is so good. It swells up in the right scenes to make you feel very sad. And I cried a few times for sure. The chemistry is off the charts between Brie Larson and Jacob Tremblay. I really felt like they had that mother and son connection. It's just a beautiful, heartbreaking film. So that's my kind of spin on it. I probably butchered that to shit. So Brian, please make some sense of it, and please correct my run-on sentence structure.
If I ended up seeing this in 2015, this would have been like my 5th favorite film of last year. The fact that it never came to Jersey until this past January, it really, really annoyed me, because this would have been in my top 5 films of last year. I really, really loved this film so much. And I knew what I was getting into when I walked into this movie. So did my mom, because she read the book. My dad had an idea of what he was getting into. My sister didn't. I told her not to watch any trailers. All I'll say is that it stars Brie Larson. And God, we were all in tears when watching this. This movie, I think, is one of the best of the decade so far. I really, really love the crap out of them. I bought the movie on Blu-ray, and I didn't want to, but I bought it because it's a really special film, and it really, as a film lover and as someone who adores like movies that feel like this movie felt like a true story. Like, it felt so real and so relevant to the society, and I just was so impressed by it. I think Lenny Abrahamson did a terrific job directing this. I mean, especially coming off the heels of Frank, which I loved the shit out. I love that movie so much. So seeing him go from like a comedy about music to this, it's like, wow, this guy has potential. And I got to see the guy at the EW Fest last year in New York, and he was talking about Room. They played a clip from Room where Jacob Tremblay's character is like, I want a different story. And oh my God, everyone in the room was in tears, myself included, and my friend Shane, who doesn't really like movies like this, but he was in tears. And this movie, I don't cry a lot during movies. I'm kind of crying right now just thinking about it. And I think this is a beautiful film. Brie Larson, I think this is the best lead actress performance of the decade so far. It's currently tied with Natalie Portman as my favorite lead actress performance of the decade so far. Like, Brie Larson was amazing in this movie. She deserved all the accolades that she won, including the Oscar. I'm really happy that she won the Oscar. No, I hate that everyone basically ignored Jacob Tremblay at the awards, because I'm not a big fan of child actors, and people question that because I'm a kid myself, and I'm like, look, as long as kids are good, they're good, and this performance is one of the best child performances I've ever seen in my life, and he should have gotten more recognition at the awards. I'm shocked he didn't get an Oscar nomination. The film got nominated for Best Picture. Lenny Abrahamson got nominated. The script is incredible, and like you said, and I have to say this, it's like two different movies. When they're in the bunker, and then when they go to the other location, they don't know how to adjust. Like, it becomes even, honestly, and I'll be honest, like, a lot of people say it's sadder when they're in the bunker. It's sadder when they go to the other location. When they go to the other location, it is so depressing. It's like, I'm like, what is life? Why do we exist? What is this, and why am I basically dead? I feel dead. Thank you, Lenny, for killing me and everyone else. Just thank you. But really, the film is so engaging. Like, I don't know how you can be bored by this movie. Like, this movie is so well paced. It's like, it's a well crafted movie. It's like, it's so perfect that I don't see how anyone cannot like this movie. I mean, is it a hard film to watch? Absolutely. It is not an easy film to watch. It's hard not to watch this movie without crying. I mean, it's hard to watch this movie without crying. It's a tough film to watch. It's really compelling. It was last year's 12 Years a Slave by being a really difficult film to watch. And I think it's a perfect film from beginning to end. If you love well-crafted films, if you love like Oscar-like films and stuff, this is a movie that's definitely meant to be watched. Don't watch this with literally like a kid or family or whatever. Just be cautious with whoever you watch it with, because you're going to need a lot of tissues when watching this movie, and you'll understand why once you begin watching it, and especially the sequence in the second half, like that scene towards the last like 30 minutes of this movie. Whew. And also everyone else did great. Joan Allen, I thought, was terrific as the mother, and William H. Macy. It was so cool seeing him in something outside of Shameless. Like, it was weird because I think everyone's used to him right now as Frank Gallagher, and then they see him in this and they're like, wow, that's so shocking. But really, Room is a stellar film that everybody needs to check out. Film lover or not, it's an important film to watch, especially with what's been going on in today's society within the last few years. Room is an absolutely incredible masterpiece that should not be missed. It is my number 2, as well as Chase.
Yeah, it's it was just one of those movies that caught me off guard. Like I said, I did not read the book or anything, but I heard that this is a very, very good read. Of course, you guys don't know this. You know, I hate reading, so I think you know, this might be one of those books like I might want to like pick up and whatnot. So I would be totally okay if I read this book. But anyways, yeah, this is our number 2. So moving on to our number 1, guys. So we both know our number 1s. I'll go first. Guys, just like with Enemy, I saw this movie and I walked out of it and I was like, what the hell did I just see? I had to really honestly go home and like sit down and think about it. I had to think about what I watched and what it was trying to accomplish. So for me, my number 1, because not only did the first time kind of intrigue me, and it was very kind of like Stanley Kubrick-esque, which is amazing because I love that director, I wanted to watch it again and again and again. And when it hit on Blu-ray, I bought that bitch straight up, day one, under the skin. This is by far, and a lot of people might go on the opposite end and do like an Ex Machina, do another kind of like artificial intelligence type of thing and whatnot. But I'm gonna go this route. This is a very kind of beautiful, nightmarish look into the shittiness of people and temptation and just how we're harming everything and how we're just crappy, shitty people. So giving you guys the context of the story, Scarlett Johansson, which, by the way, this is the best thing she's ever been a part of and the best thing she's ever done. This is the best performance she has given so far in her career, and people can battle me on that. That's fine. This is the one. I don't think she'll ever top this. This is by far the weirdest thing she's ever done, but it's so beautiful and so melodic and just so nightmarish that I thought she delivered it so well because she plays an alien, and she basically inhabits human skin from a body that she harvests, and she wears it. She goes around town, she lures people in, and basically they suck all the... Brian, what would you say? Like, they suck all the... Pretty much everything out of the skin except for the skin. Like, that's how they eat. And so...
Yeah.
And you're probably thinking to yourself, wait a minute, so this sounds like just a typical alien invasion movie. No, not really. Jonathan Glazer, the director, the way he approaches the subject matter makes it so artful and so unique and different. Like, for instance, when they're eating these people, she lures them into like this dark void, basically, and they go down to like this dark, silky, like muddy water pit, and then they just like they suck out all the meat, and that's how they survive. And you're thinking to yourself, like, how is that going to be filmed so beautiful? Oh, trust me, it does. Like, every single shot is like a fucking painting. Every shot is taken with care, and nothing is sloppy. It looked like every single frame with art direction, lighting, cinematography, just everything about it was constructed to a T to where you couldn't really make it any more perfect than it already is. Like I said, it's like walking through a damn nightmare. And the nightmare is not even the alien. It's humanity. Humanity is the fucking nightmare. And they make it so fucking apparent in this movie. There's one shot at the end of the movie. I'm not going to say what happens, but it deals with ScarJo's character. It will make you fucking weep. It is downright depressing. And it deals with the alien going against a couple humans. And you realize at that moment that this movie's message is that aliens could probably come down to this earth and do what they're doing, but in reality, they're probably going to be so appalled and so disgusted at what we've become as a human race that they might just like crawl up in the fetal position and die away. Like that's how poorly constructed our human race has become, and that's how the director kind of perceives what this is. Now, this is based on a novel. I've not read the novel, but what I can tell you is that from the cinematography, exquisite, beautiful, sweeping, dreamlike, the performances, out of this world, pun intended. Very, it feels like there's a few shots in this film that are filmed kind of like in a, not handy cam, but more of like a hidden cam, so the people on the street didn't really know that Scarlett Johansson was driving up and talking to him, because they filmed this in a different country. So that made the performances feel a lot more natural with the situations and whatnot. And I felt like that ScarJo was an alien walking around luring men in with her looks and eating them, basically. And then there's also a really kind of heartfelt, beautiful message about, looks and beauty and how we perceive beauty as a human race and whatnot. And that some people aren't, born with those looks and whatnot. And Brian knows what I'm talking about. The one scene with the elephant face guy. It's just, it's really kind of just heartbreaking to watch. But then, like I said, at the very end, it's just, there's a couple scenes that will just make you just kind of have your jaw dropped because of like just what you're seeing in terms of everything mixing together, just hitting you all emotionally and whatnot. And the music, like Brian said, is so kind of very eerie and kind of gets under your skin, but it kind of goes well with the subject matter that's happening on screen. And it just fits so well. It's just such a weird kind of movie, but it really kind of raises a lot of questions about humanity and the horrors from it. I know that didn't make any sense. I apologize. Very run-on-y and very informal. I apologize for that. But that's why that is my number one. It was just something extremely different 2 years ago, and just something that has stuck with me visually and conceptually. And that's why Under the Skin is my number one. And I love watching that thing whenever I can. I own it. So whenever someone says they haven't seen it, I'm like, we're going to sit that shit down. We're going to watch it right now. So that is my number one. Peace. I am out for this episode. Good night.
All right. So my number one, obviously, I mean, I remember watching this film when I first got Amazon Prime. And one of the films I really wanted to watch was this one because of the reception I heard. I love coming-of-age films. I love the two leads. Spectacular Now is a really special film to me because it's like Chase said, teen romance. I'm a teen. I'm going for this shit a lot. This is something that doesn't strive away from me ever. It's really hard for me, to deal with this kind of stuff because it's really heartbreaking. I mean, it's like Chase said, teens my age, a lot of them think, they're going to be together for a long time, and they really want to be, but they can't because they know that they're going to get separated, and it's going to be really rough for them. Taylor and Shailene Woodley do so well. I mean, their chemistry is out of this world. Brilliant. I bought them as lovers. I really thought they worked off each other so well. This was the first time I saw Miles Teller, and I'm like, you know what? This is a really amazing performance. And obviously, he did Whiplash. Shailene Woodley, I've always loved Shailene Woodley. She's been one of my biggest crushes for many, many years. I mean, The Descendants was like the first thing I saw her in, and I'm just like, she's such a good actress. She is so talented. It's incredible. I mean, after this, she's done many things. I mean, she's good in pretty much everything I've ever seen her in, even those crappy Divergent films. She was so great in, like, Fallen Our Stars. She was really good in Snowden. She's even good in Divergent films. She's a really girl. And I thought both of them worked off each other so, so well. The writing was so relatable. even if you're not a teenager, you can easily relate to this story. I mean, of course, everyone has fallen in love before, and they think, oh, you found the perfect one, and yet, I'm not going to spoil if it works between them or not, but it's like, will it work out? Will it not work out? I mean, it's a tough thing. It's so relatable, especially for someone my age, because these characters are around my age, and I mean, they're seniors in high school. I just graduated high school months ago, and now I'm in my first year of college, and it's just really excellent writing. Ponsel, once again, his direction is just so good. This was my first exposure to him. And, like, this guy is on my radar now. Like, virtually everything he's going to do, I cannot wait to see whatever else he does. I mean, he's doing that movie, The Circle, with Tom Hanks, Emma Watson, John Boyega. I mean, he has fucking Woody, Hermione, and Finn in the movie together. I mean, that's, like, really awesome stuff. And then he's going to be doing a movie about, like, the foundation of MTV. How can you not be excited for that? Like, that's awesome. But yeah, I think it's an engaging, heartbreaking film, but it's also very heartfelt. And all the other performances in this movie are nothing short of brilliant. I mean, Brie Larson does a good job in this movie. Jennifer Jason Leigh's really good. The performance that really just kind of broke my skin was Kyle Chandler as Miles Teller's father. I mean, this guy, you think he's a good guy, you have an idea of where it's going to go, and it may not go, and it doesn't go the way you think it's going to go. Like, it's really heartbreaking. And I mean, Miles Teller's character also goes through a lot because he's an alcoholic. Like, that's something that a lot of kids my age go through nowadays. Alcohol it's horrible. And one of my friends is currently recovering from that, so it's like really affected me. And it's this movie just has a lot of layers to it and a lot of social issues and stuff. And it's a really just well-crafted movie. I think The Spectacular Now is the best thing A24 has ever done. I mean, I would go on by saying maybe Room is the best thing they've ever done, but The Spectacular Now is my personal favorite film they've ever done. And I could rewatch it over and over again because despite how much of a sad movie I've described it, it's a really funny movie too. Like, you also got other good supporting performances from, like, Bob Odenkirk's in this movie, and there's many other people that I forgot. But anyway,
but
great
like
film.
Miles Teller's cockiness comes through, and it actually is somewhat humorous in some scenes.
It is somewhat humorous, and I mean, she's funny too, but Miles definitely adds a lot of the charm to it, but Shailene Woodley adds the sweetness to it. And then there's a sequence in the middle that I will not spoil, involving a car, and it's like, oh, God damn it, why did you have to tug the strings, James? Like, fuck. Yeah, Spectacular Now is an amazing film, one of the best of the decade so far. If you haven't seen it, please watch it, especially if you're a coming-of-age film fan. This is a very important coming-of-age film that should get more recognition. Spectacular Now is my favorite film from A24, and I love how diverse our I mean, it was basically all the same films, but I love how I put, like, a kind of feel-good movie, and Chase put a psychologically fucked-up film as his number one. So, I mean, that's a great, excellent list, excellent episode today. Really great job, both of us. We deserve pats on the back.
Yeah, we chose the best ones, and I gotta say real quick on Spectacular Now, the one. This isn't like a big thing about it, but it is something that caught my eye as I was watching the movie and stuff, and as we were talking about it. Usually in, like, teen romance films, the sex scenes are either very Hollywoodized or very not sexy. The cool thing about the one sex scene in this film that I really appreciate is it was very awkward. It was very sensual. It felt very real, and it didn't feel like something a director kind of set up or propped up. It was like, just act like you're making love. And I thought it was a very nice tender moment, and Brian knows which one I'm talking about. So yeah, I just had to bring that up. It was very different.
Very real.
Yeah, very different for a teen romance film. So yeah, that's it, guys. That is our list. We literally have the same 5 films. They're just all in different order except for 2. So this was almost the closest list we've ever had, going all 5 of them. But I recommend all 5 of these. But guess what, guys? A24 has got more of them. Before we get into our honorable mentions, what are some of your favorite A24 films? Comment in the place with my face and let me know, and let Brian know. For honorable mentions, guys, there's too many to list, so I'm just going to go by really, really fast. Ginger and Rosa. You guys remember that shit? Of course you don't. It came out around the time Spring Breakers did. I thought it was okay. It was fine. Locke. very good one. Tom Hardy in a car for 90 minutes. Very good stuff. Obvious Child with Jenny Slate. A very good kind of romantic dramedy. I really enjoyed it. The Rover with Guy Pearce and Robert Pattinson. I thought it was okay. It wasn't like, the best, but it had some beautiful kind of gritty cinematography that I really enjoyed. Tusk, the fucking Walrus movie with Justin Long, Kevin Smith. I thought that one was weird and right up my alley. I never saw Most Violent Year. A lot of people don't know that because everyone assumed I did in that year. I still haven't seen it yet. While We're Young, Ben Stiller, Adam Driver, Amanda Seyfried, very, very interesting kind of film about, getting older and trying to stay young. Ex Machina, very good AI movie. Slow West, Michael Fassbender, Western, What Could Go Wrong. Amy, very good documentary about Amy Winehouse. Dark Places with Charlize Theron was okay. It was like a Lifetime movie. The Witch, very good horror film, came out this year. Green Room, very good B midnight movie. Loved it. That's what I'm saying. That's how hard it was for this list. There's just a lot of these I still love, but I just could not put on there. The Lobster, I thought was pretty good. Haven't seen it in over a year. In Swiss Army Man, of course, that was from this year. And then Morris from America, the Craig Robinson one, it was okay. It's not gonna like make my top 10 of the year for this year, but it was fine. And that's it so far because I haven't seen Moonlight yet. So Brian, take it away. What are some of the ones that you just could not put on your list?
Well, the ones that you brought up, some of them I haven't seen. So, but all the ones I have on my honorable mentions, I have seen, and you have seen as well. I know you're probably going to bring this up in your dishonorable mentions. I did not have any expectations for this movie whatsoever. I did not like the trailers. I don't care for most of the cast members. Actually, I do because I love the lead. I liked Spring Breakers. I'm sorry. I don't know why it like somehow appealed to me. Like I remember seeing the trailers and I'm like, this looks so bad. I love Franco and everything, but no, and I really enjoyed it. Locke, great movie. Tom Hardy, obviously in the car, really awesome movie. Great accent and great beard, by the way. Tusk, awesome. I thought this movie was awesome. I loved Tusk, and I really want to see Yoga Hoosiers, which is weird because that's not distributed by A24. While We're Young, obviously you brought Ben Stiller, Adam Driver, Amanda Seyfried, Naomi Watts, Noah Baumbach directed this movie. Great film. Love the writing in this movie, and I thought Ben Stiller and Naomi Watts played a couple so well. Ex Machina, fantastic. I remember I was the only person in the theater when I saw this movie, and I could just react out loud to all the crazy stuff. Love it. Own it on Blue. Amy, I'm not the biggest Amy Winehouse fan. To be quite honest, I didn't really know any of her music before I went to this movie, and I loved the crap out of this documentary, and I'm so happy it won Best Documentary this past year. The Witch, the first great horror movie of the year. I mean, one of the best horror movies I've seen ever, and modern horror movies anyway, and I just was blown away. Green Room, like you said, great B-like horror movie. Obviously this rock band playing again, this punk rock band battling neo-Nazis, and it starred the late great Anton Yelchin, and Patrick Stewart, I think, should get an Oscar nomination for this movie because he was that good as the leader of the neo-Nazis. And lastly, Swiss Army Man. This was not a movie. This was an experience that everyone should definitely consider seeing. Like, this was easily one of the best. This is easily one of the best films I've seen so far this year. I think it's my 5th favorite film of the year so far. Like, I adored the crap out of this movie, and that is it with the honorable mentions.
Yeah, no, it's just A24 is just one of those companies that just has so fucking many. It was hard to whittle down. Like I said, I've liked most of their stuff, except for some of these dishonorable mentions coming your way. Get ready, guys, because this can be a good one. And believe it or not, I'm not going to rant about Spring Breakers. Spring Breakers obviously is on there. I do not care for it whatsoever. I might have to rewatch it. Maybe I'll change my mind over 3 years, but I literally have not seen it since the theaters, so it's been a while. Mojave with Oscar Isaac and Garrett Hudlin. You guys remember this? Came out earlier this year. You guys remember it? Of course you fucking don't, because it was awful. And then what else? American Honey. Didn't care for it. And then it just came out. Sorry. But here's the one that drove me the most crazy. Because at least with Spring Breakers, I can acknowledge that James Franco was so nutty and entertaining to watch. I really do like the cinematography of it, and the music is very kind of saturated in like this American nightmare. However, there's one film A24 has released, and it still has held my place for the worst thing they've ever put their name on. Everything about this film, from the directing to the writing to the acting to the cinematography to the editing to the sound design and to the music, everything is so goddamn lazy and so goddamn terrible. There was nothing redeemable about it. I gave it a straight up F because I could not find one thing I liked about it. Even if it was whittled down to the costume design, still couldn't find it. The very worst thing they've ever put out. Barely Lethal with Haley Steinfeld and Samuel L. Jackson. You're probably thinking to yourself, what in the holy fuck is that? Well, I can tell you right now, it only made $6,000 in the theaters, so good for it. But it was fucking, if I can remember it correctly, because I try to forget about it. Haley Steinfeld plays like this teenage girl. She's incorporated into like the spy thing. It's kind of like Agent Cody Banks, except worse, because at least Agent Cody Banks was fucking charming with Frankie Muniz. This wasn't. It was pretty much like Agent Cody Banks. But not only that, you have a shitty-ass title that is borderline pedophilia with the, barely lethal. Ooh, yeah, get them before they're 18. It's like, fucking gross. Like, why is that your title? But everything about it was just lazy. There was nothing intriguing about it. I don't remember it that much. I just remember just so angry while watching because I was like, there's nothing about this. It is driving me crazy. I got an online screener, so I watched it at home. I couldn't even make it like watching it in my bed. I was just like, I want to get out and like go outside. I want to get some of that vitamin D for my skin. Like I was just like, oh, I can't be in my room anymore. So Barely Lethal is the worst thing they've ever done. So that is that for me. So yeah, and I forgot to mention this. Life After Beth, the what was Audrey Plaza. I like her to death. It wasn't terrible, but also wasn't really good. It's just like it's like but it's like borderline bad. I didn't really care for that one either. So Brian, take it away. I'm about to pop a blood vessel.
Well, I haven't really seen anything that's terrible. Like I've avoided Barely Lethal because of your thoughts on it, even though I could probably see it for free on Amazon Prime.
I want you to watch it if you're bored. Like, just watch it and you'll see what I'm talking about. There's nothing. Listen, Brian, as a person who has their bachelor's in filmmaking, and you as a person going through film school, I want you to watch that, and I want you to write down one thing about it that was redeemable, that was actually good, and you'll be shocked that you can't find shit.
I'll try. My least favorite film that A24 has done, and I know this isn't like a poorly reviewed film, I just didn't really find it all that entertaining. I really didn't care about Laggies all that much with Keira Knightley and Chloe Grace Moretz. This one just really wasn't that funny. I was excited to see it because I love Keira Knightley a lot, and this was a great year for her when this movie came out because this was the same year as Begin Again and The Imitation Game, which are two fantastic films. And this one, I just didn't really find entertaining, and I love Chloe Grace Moretz, and she's a terrific young talent, but I didn't really like her in this movie, nor did I really care for Keira Knightley. I just thought this movie was bland and kind of unjoyous. I just didn't really care for it all that much. I didn't really find it funny. Now, I know a lot of people love The Lobster. I watched it a few weeks ago. I personally didn't like it. I wanted to a lot. I love the way it began. I appreciate the plot of it. Like I think the plot is fantastic, but everything after the first half just went down to shit. Like the first half was incredible. The second half, blah. And also probably because I don't want to badmouth people, but the people I watched it with are now out of my life because I hate them so much. So yeah, that was
son. This turned into a Mari episode. Shit.
So like that's another thing. They encouraged me to watch it. I was excited. I mean, I showed them Sing Street, which they loved, and then they were like, "Oh, you gotta watch The Lobster," and I'm like, "I've been wanting to watch that," so I rented it. I wasted $6. I could have used $6 on someone else. I could have used that for food or something. Yeah, The Laggies to me is my least favorite. And I forgot to bring up The Bling Rain. I think that one's okay. Did you see that one?
I did not.
Okay. The end.
Okay. Yeah. No. Listen. I mentioned what was that? 4 of them that I didn't really care for, and I cannot believe American Honey was this. The most recent. But yeah. No. A24 seems to be hitting them out of the park. More than fucking striking out. So. Besides Moonlight coming out, I am really looking forward to. I know Brian saw the trailer for this, The Monster, from the director of The Strangers. Woo,
I actually did not see this trailer because I didn't want. No, I like going into. The thing with me and A24 was that I like to go into most of their films not knowing anything. Like I didn't see the trailers for Under the Skin. Did I see the trailer for Room? I think I did. I didn't see the trailer for Enemy. I didn't see the trailer for Lock, Tusk, Ex Machina, Green Room. I didn't see the trailers for any of those movies. So I kind of like to go into A24 films not really knowing much. And the thing is with American Honey, I know you didn't really care for it. I still want to check it out because I really, really do. A lot of people in my filmmaking program were talking about it, and I'm like, well, I would have gone, but, college. I don't really remember the trailer for that, which is a good thing. I like to go into movies not really remembering any trailers. The Monster, I don't really know what it's about. It stars Zoe Kazan. I love Zoe Kazan. I think she's a really underrated actress. I love her so much. I don't know how Paul Dano has her. Paul Dano's a fucking weirdo, but Zoe Kazan, love her. What else do they have coming out?
So they have Moonlight, Oasis, Supersonic, The Monster, and 20th Century Women to round out the year.
Ooh.
The Monster for sure. Like I've been looking forward to anything that Brian, I forgot his last name, but the director of The Strangers, I love that movie so much. I was excited to see what he would do next. So yeah, I'm really excited for Moonlight and The Monster. I'm seeing Moonlight next week, so A24, you keep it up, man.
I'm excited for 20th Century Women because it's from Mike Mills, who directed Beginners, which is a fucking awesome movie. That movie is awesome. And then, like, in 2017, the stuff that they have coming out, Free Fire looks awesome. I cannot wait for Free Fire. I'm so pumped for that film. That one looks great. And then what else do they have? How to Talk to Girls at Parties from who's that? John Cameron Mitchell, the guy who basically created Hedwig and the Angry Inch, Trespass Against Us with Michael Fassbender. I saw that trailer. That looked pretty cool.
It looks pretty cool.
Woodstock with Kirsten Dunst. This film follows a woman who falls deeper into paranoia after taking a deadly drug. Sounds cliche, but sure, why not? The Black Coat's Daughter with Emma Roberts, Lucy Boynton. Oh, that's the girl from Saint Street. So Cool Beans. That sounds awesome. That doesn't sound interesting. The Lovers. Lena and Pete. Don't know who these people are. And yeah, that's it. That's all they have coming out.
Yeah, but I mean, for a company that's only been going for 3 years now, like they've racked up quite a filmography.
They have.
I to be honest with you, I honestly don't even care what the movie's about. As long as A24's logo is on there, I will watch it. And that goes with American Honey. I was excited to see it. I wanted it to be good. I'm the only one on the fucking planet that didn't care for it. Me and my friend that I took to the screening were the only 2 people that didn't like it so far. So yeah, no, but that's it for A24 guys. But we ain't done. We ain't done yet because we're gonna move on to next week. Brian, what is going on next week?
Oh, I'm so pumped out of my mind for next week. Next week in honor of American Pastoral, which is the directorial debut of Ewan McGregor, we are doing our top 5 films directed by actors. Now, here's the rule: we have to pick one film per director. We can't pick like numerous ones. And the thing is, someone asked me, is Martin Scorsese and Quentin Tarantino eligible? No. Yes, they've acted in their films. Yes, they are kind of actors, but they're not like actors who are turned into directors. Like examples include Ron Howard, Rob Reiner, Penny Marshall,
Ben Affleck,
Joseph
Zach Braff,
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Clint Eastwood. Like those are examples, and I'm excited to do this list. This is going to be a very tough list, but Chase probably already knows my number one because I praise this film so much.
Yep,
he knows it. I'm curious to know what his number one is, but I cannot wait to do this list. I'm so excited.
Did you say Clint Eastwood?
Yes, Clint Eastwood is eligible.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood. That might be a tough one to pick one from him because you know one's gonna be on that list. So yeah, that's gonna be an interesting fucking list. It's gonna be just as hard as this week. So I am looking forward to it, and you should too. So Brian, before we go, where can the peeps find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at BrianSuds98 and on YouTube at Brian Sudfield.
Yeah, if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at RealChaseLee. You want to subscribe to the YouTube page, click on that. Spread this around. Tell people that this is the definitive top 5 show on the face of the fucking internet. And yeah, this has been Top 5 Saturdays Live, guys. We'll see you guys next week for top 5 films done by or directed by former actors. Or how we
former actors.
Yeah, whatever. I don't even know how to label it. I'm tired, guys. But anyways, this will do it for Top 5 Saturdays Live. Comment down below about A24. So I am Chase Lee.
I'm Brian Sudfield.
That's fucking right. And the intro and outro music is done by my friends band Fervent Roze. Check them out. All the links in the description below. Peace out, everyone. A24, faux life. I'm going to get that tattoo right on either my dick or my butt cheek. A24, faux life. We'll see you guys next week.